Nice. Oh, he died. Well, there you go. I guess that's hitless Fulghor to end the day. Alrighty, everyone. So on to Duchess. This one took a while because we just didn't have the relic support, but this new Dark Knight of the Wise relic is really good and really enables this playstyle because it has 3 fantastic effects that if you didn't have this relic, you would have to roll individually. And that sounds a lot more terrible than I'd like the game to be. So we've got 2 good churches here, which we're going to get early on. And then we have a loner church over there. We're looking for some kind of lightning damage. That's probably going to be a problem for our main hand weapon. So this build basically came up because I really hate bad matchups. I think a character should do well against everyone to be considered a good character. And so I was struggling a little bit with that. Some bosses, it just feels like you do no damage. Your fights are too slow. And you do no stun damage, you do no repose, you just don't do anything really valuable. And those matchups are whenever Duchess can't inflict some kind of status effect, like Frostbite, or bleed, or poison. And so to deal with those, essentially what I've ended up doing is what the game kind of tells you to do, actually, ironically. Because the game tells you Duchess has A in int, and people look at the stat and it's 42 and they go like, what the fuck? This definitely isn't A. It's only 1 point higher than what her dex is, right? 41. But you have to consider the fact that dex scales up to 60, but int scales up to 50. So you essentially have, relative to their soft caps, 10 points more in int than you do in dex. And that's why using dex weapons with this character is a bit of a lost cause. If you pick up a Moonveil, even something like a Moonveil, you're going to realize that Executor is going to do more damage with it than you. And that's going to be disappointing for a lot of people. Their response to that is, well, this character sucks if she doesn't have status effects, so I'm going to build her with status effects. That's all I'm going to do. That's basically how every single Duchess player, it seems, has built her online, because that's the only thing that, or the only build that I see when I'm solo queuing. And it's tragic because she has lots of good options in terms of her spells. And you just don't get to see those when you're playing just a regular status effect. And if you're on the fence about it, you know what the best part is? You still have status effects. Because sorcery has really good synergy with Frostbite. So if anything, I'm not being very optimal here because I rolled Frostbite on my starting weapon. But if I had a different color of relic, or I had a better relic, I would have probably poison or bleed on it. And so there we have Frostbite from spells, and then also bleed from the main weapon. And you are basically doing the same thing you were doing with extra magic damage. And then you might tell me, well, Fitz, don't you know that magic damage is the worst in the game in terms of all the elemental resistances according to the spreadsheet? And I'm gonna tell you, yep, I knew. I know. But we have, thankfully, the reprisal to help us out with that. And that's 60% extra damage on top of whatever you're doing. And so when you start comparing, like a lot of people do, Duchess with Executor, then Duchess with Recluse, you get a little bit disappointed in the character, but fail to realize that sure, Executor is better at dex, but he can't cast sorceries for shit. And sure, Recluse is really good at sorcery, but she can't use a melee weapon at all to save her life. And that's where you find the niche for Duchess, because you can do both at the same time and you're pretty good at both. You're just not the best. So hopefully that's a good pitch for you. Now we have to put it to practice. We've got one flask over here. We obviously got the worst ring possible because that's what's been happening today to me. You know, we just have to deal with it. That being said, I might tell you all these great things about Duchess. I do have to be honest with you. She can be frustrating to play solo. There are going to be some things that just straight up one-shot you and you're like, what the fuck? You're going to get comboed by a few things. Some bosses have true combos as well, where they just hit you, they pop your bubble, and they one-shot you. And you're sitting there like, why am I wasting time when I could just be playing Wilder or anyone else, Raider, anyone else really? And I get you, man. I get you. So don't get discouraged. This also applies to Revenant, which I have featured before, and Recluse, which I will feature next. These characters are very squishy and they don't really have any alternative in terms of defense except dodging. Nothing about their abilities really help you, and so you're on your own, man. You have to learn how to dodge. And when you're not paying attention because you're trying to commentate for a YouTube video, things get a little bit dicey. Let's put it that way. So we're walking into this ring. We have a Stonesword Key. We can go up north. We are only level 3. That is not very enticing, but we do have a Duelist Moonblade. So that is a nice source of frostbite damage, and then we also have a Serpent God's Magic Curved Sword. That sounds like a hex. We're also looking at the top. It's an ulcerated tree spirit, so that's free. And we're looking at maybe this lightning camp, actually. So scratch that. We're gonna go through here. Yeah, we're gonna go through the mine. Actually, we're gonna ignore whatever is up here. We go through the mine. We go into this Evergaol. We go up. We clear this because it's lightning. We clear this because it's lightning. We get this flask, and Bob's your uncle. Well, we might deal with you, actually. So one thing about this character, if you want to be super efficient with your things, is try to keep your spell casting to whenever you have the... There you go. Whenever you have your reprisal, because that's just damage you're going to multiply. Oh, I thought you were dead. We're looking at damage negation, most likely. Get this level 4, and then yeah, we go through the mine, we come out the other end, we do the Evergaol. At least that's the idea. We'll try to hit at least one of these two, probably this one down here, for a lightning weapon, and then onto the fight, because it's probably gonna end here or here. I'm assuming here, so those two are gonna be closer than whatever I'm trying to do up here. You can find, by the way, all of the ring endings in a website. Do I recommend it? Yes. Will I use it? No. And that's just because I'm lazy, so don't worry about that. We're not looking for white upgrade material, or sorry, a blue upgrade material, because we don't have a gray or I guess white. Gray is more apt, I think. Level weapon. Okay, so discretion is the better part of valor. we will be back. We'll take this opportunity to do this castle right here. And the nice thing about them is that they'll stay there with the same HP as they started with. So. Nice thing about Azula is that it does a lot of frost buildup. So you don't have to worry about not proccing it. We got another Stonesword Key and we've got improved sorceries. We're still looking for... Let me see what this is. Yeah, we'll take it. Why not? So the best thing that we can get here is Carrion Slicer. And we don't get it, so L. Ratio. We're going to go over here to hopefully pick up the lightning that we're missing. And then we're going to pick up the flask. Because at level 4, you have to be, well, level 4, level 5 at this point, very careful. And you can't be doing Macho Man things like you can when you're playing trios with a bunch of friends. You do have to realize that some boss fights are just not worth the time, even though they are practically viable to do so or to figure out so. Rains do be gathering. I do like this one. This is gonna be our main weapon. And we're gonna collect our church here and move on. We also have the Evergaol over there, so hopefully it's gonna be something that we can actually kill. And like I said, we can just go back to the duo and deal with that day 2. So in terms of a list of weapons that I could give you that are good for Duchess, I mean, I could just tell you anything that has the boss weakness in mind, like this Lightning Grave Scythe. Anything that has status effects. Anything that's going to do massive stun damage. Anything that's dex related. All of these things will help. Oh, look, I just talked with your cousin, actually, over there. Oh, a little bit too early. Okay, so we were able to clean it up real quick, and you can see just how much damage you can do with obviously with status effects, but also just with magic. Because Azula's Moonblade will do so much damage. So we're obviously ignoring this great beast. We will be dealing with it first thing in the morning. But for now, we are ignoring it because we don't want to waste our FP on it. We do have FP regen, but it's just not quite good enough to be wasting your FP like that. So we'll be ignoring it for now. But, I mean, what else can I say about this character, really? I could also give you a list of the sorceries that I like. I mean, that's a little bit more extensive, though. I could go through, like, the schools that I remember, though it's not going to be exhaustive. In terms of gravity spells, Gravity Well, Rock Sling, if you're playing in trios, you can also use Meteorite. Then you can use Carrion Slicer, Carrion Piercer, Azula's Moonblade. Then you have the 2 moons. You have Rani's Moon. You have Renala's Moon. Then you have Magma Shot. And you also have, if you have a team, Gelmir's Fury. Then you have the Oracle Bubbles, the Great Oracle Bubbles. Then you have, what else? I'm trying to think of what else there is. You have Shattering Crystal. You have Yeah, both types of comet. You have... that's about it, really. I mean, off the top of my head, and there's definitely going to be some that do exist that are good that I just can't for the life of me remember. So, just like before, I would like to ask you if you think I would be doing this much damage with just a dagger with bleed on it. But I think you're starting to realize why I don't think that's a really good playstyle. You can definitely make it work, because obviously all the Duchesses online that I've played with, that we've won games with, are playing this way, and I have to assume that they're playing, or they're winning most of their matches. But you tell me which one you prefer, particularly in solo if you're a solo player. Or if you're trying to get into solo, which one you would prefer to have, right? That was very weird. I don't know what happened there, by the way. I'm gonna flash. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, is what I would say, because I have infinite items. And he is confused. He has no idea where to go. I'm just gonna run away from that because I have no idea how he's gonna land this time. You know what? I think... Let me try this. Oh, yeah, that is way better. Sorry, I'm silly, and I don't know what spells are good on which bosses. Ooh, get out of that. Okay. So good stuff. We got Cypher Pada. Would be really nice for any other character. But, cool. So we're looking at Central Castle. We have all flasks. We have a lightning weapon. We're looking very good, quite honestly. So hopefully we can keep this ball rolling. And nothing tragic happens to our run. And yeah, I am still looking to replace this Azula's Moonblade. Because it's not going to be very good in terms of getting lots of damage in. At least to show off the best spells, right? But if I can't get a good spell, there's nothing I can do about that. It's just the luck of the draw. But you'll have to experiment yourself with all of the spells that I did mention. And trust me when I say that they are fantastic options. So, believe you me. Roll catch. That's incredible. Oh, I completely forgot. I don't know why I was like, yeah, he just does that thing. Ooh. Spamming a little bit too much there. Let's play it extra safe so we don't die. So this one, even though they are resistant to fire, we can just do that and pop it twice. And he does on our R1. I am shocked that he's not going into phase 2 there. Okay. But that worked out for us, actually. So that's nice. We have HP, or runes. We're gonna take the HP, because at this point I'm feeling very good about our build. And we have at least one upgrade material. I do want to maybe hit another upgrade, I guess. At this point, I guess we're kind of locked on Azula's Moonblade. I don't want to make it sound like it's bad or terrible, or I would rather be using something else. But I did want to show off some of the cooler spells like Shattering Crystal, Shard Spiral, those ones. But I guess you'll just have to take my word for it for now. So we'll be going with Azula's Moonblade, just because that's what we were given, and you know, it's good. It has Frostbite, and we already do bleed and that kind of stuff, so we'll be totally fine. So we got the head honcho here, the man of the hour. Takes a little bit of time, so unfortunate. You can see how much damage he does. That was through my bubble, by the way. He usually works in pairs of 3. 3 is not a pair, you moron. Sorry about that. I don't know what I'm saying. Here we get some Azula. We got greedy for it. We won't get punished for it. We heal back to our bubble. We're looking for another bleed. And at this point you might be wondering, alright, I can kind of see the vision fits. How do I use my reprisal then to be optimal about it? And the answer to that is yes. Use your reprisal. The big rule of games with abilities is your ABCs. Always be casting. This game's no exception. Bad reprisal is gonna do more damage than the one you're holding for the next game. So use it. Don't worry about fumbling it. It's really not about that. Ooh, that was a little bit scary. I didn't know I'd run out of... I guess Reapers are not good at doing this thing, huh? So you do have to be very careful with that. There you go. A little bit finicky, but he is definitely overscaled for what he does. We're gonna go for no value. We're level 12, and then we're gonna go to the top and deal with that. We're ignoring Yusa because we don't really have that much time. Like I said, I do want to go for 2 purple weapons, so hopefully we can do so. We're looking for Ritual Shield is very nice. Opa, close. We do know that this is an ulcerated tree spirit because we saw it while going up the way. So, and the nice thing about this is that we already have basically everything that we wanted, so we don't have to deal with buying the Winding Grace or buying some Starlight Shards or anything of the sort. Oh, I knew that was greedy. So he is technically a tree thing, so fire will work. It also clears the frostbite, so it's gonna be great. So, well, at least I got to show off Magma Shot against the right boss. Does a hell of a lot of damage. So if you're, I guess, concerned about this build really working for, what's her face, the Ice Dragon, Calico, you don't really need to worry about that. The only blind spot for magic or for sorceries is Holy and Lightning. And the nice thing about Duchess compared to Recluse, as we've already established, is that your melee weapon can make up for that. Recluse is forced to find some kind of lightning spear or some kind of other spell like Discus of Light or Wrath of Gold to really get her cocktails going and to deal that kind of damage. And that's a little more difficult to find, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And even if you don't have those damage types, carrying a Slicer does so much damage that you practically don't care, so. That's the other good thing about this character. Is that she can be very dumb if she feels like it. Okay. So we have our upgrade material. We'll be crafting it right here, right now. And, you know what? We're gonna go for the fort. I was gonna go for the Black Blade Kindred to prove my point, but I do want to go for the fort to see if I can get a Carrion Slicer. This is the last chance to get a Slicer. Sure, I am going to do something irrational. Okay. So instead of upgrading our Scythe, which is what I was planning to do, I want to see if I can pick up a Slicer from up here. You will have to believe me when I say that Slicer, Shattering Crystal, and a bunch of the other spells that I mentioned are legitimately easy to get. It's just, this is unlucky. And we're still unlucky. So, it is what it is. I'm gonna pop ult, actually. Unironically popping ult because I hate these two guys. We're gonna drop this shield. We're gonna pick this up. We have a little bit extra damage. And now we're on our way to that area over there. Let's try to beat up this gargoyle. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But I think we have enough DPS. With Slicer, this would have been like a 2-second affair. Quite honestly. And if you don't believe me, whenever I'm playing Duchess on stream, I always try to go for Slicer and show that off. But for sure, this is not as bad as it looks. Especially with this build that we have on. Because he is actually weak to magic damage. He just has to do something. By the way, with Azula's Moonblade, your projectile counts separately from the actual sword hitbox. No, close. Yeah, with a Slicer, this would have been so much easier, but I don't want to be in the ring when it comes in, so we'll be heading out. We do have a bunch of Starlight Shards and stuff. That was quite honestly record pace. And the only problem that I have with this build right now is that apparently Reapers are a bug, or they just take too long to actually get successful attacks. So I guess that is something to consider. Try to stick with curved swords, straight swords, thrusting swords, like small one-handed things, because clearly two-handed things take a little bit of time to count as quote-unquote successive. So that could be a problem. So we got Nameless. Nameless is a great fight. We will be holding off on our FP just to be a little bit more efficient. But again, even though it is slightly slow, the nice thing about this build is that you have the ability to replenish that FP by hitting the boss, right? With a melee weapon that you should be using as well, so it kind of feeds into itself, even though you might argue that a little bit too slowly, but so the nice thing about this boss is that the dragon is weak to lightning. Because it is a Dark Souls boss. A Dark Souls dragon, sorry. Well, both things, actually, so. He is extremely weak. I guess in general, he is extremely weak just to everything, so. Pretty nice. This guy is really difficult to like pressure because he just does a lot of like these 2-hit attacks and cancels into his combos if he sees you pressing a button, so. We just have to be very careful here. Ooh, double dodge really helping me there. And he just likes walking in on you like that, so you have to be careful. Knows exactly where I am. That's concerning. Ooh. Oh, unlucky. Barely clipped me there with a great tip. Huh? I definitely dodged that, by the way. I need a bar check on that. Okay, we're trolling at this point. I get too used to like single dodging when that actually puts me at a disadvantage with this character. Because you want to double dodge whenever you can. Because that's where you get your most iframes. There you go. Unfortunate we didn't get the hitless Nameless King, but you know, I could definitely improve. We're gonna go for actually probably lightning here, just to absolutely make sure we get the debuff. So we've got 2 Starlight Shards and 1 more Wending Grace, which we drop. Oh wait, no, we can upgrade. I completely forgot about that, by the way. I did say I was gonna go do it, and I didn't. So that's funny. And we get to level 14 pretty comfortably. Yeah, despite just using a slightly slower spell, but I guess this is proof Azula's Moonblade is good enough to use. Okay, so that's my lightning, I gotta remember. There you go. Good stuff. Okay, so charge is definitely not what I expected at this point in the fight. And quite honestly, I'm gonna use ult here. Because I am not interested in having to deal with that dodge. I'm just not good at it. Okay. Goodbye, sir. Okay, that's a jump. I think I get 2 here. Nice. Oh, he died. Well, there you go. I guess that's hitless Fulghor to end the day. Definitely not the best version of the build, but it does work. I really do hope you appreciated it. And give this a try. Spellblade Duchess really does work. If you have any questions, as always, let me know. And you have a good one.